Now, Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson is under fire again, this time from the Chief Judge of Orleans Criminal District Court.
Chief Criminal Court Judge Tracy Flemings Davalier says the sheriff ignored an order. That's a ruling that could result in jail time.
Criminal District Chief Judge Tracy Flemings Davalier says that Sheriff Susan Hudson is ignoring a court order.
A judge orders Sheriff Susan Hudson to appear in criminal court tomorrow to determine if there's probable cause to arrest her.
Say, bruh, Susan Hudson came in again talking big shit. She swore up and down she was gonna clean house, fix the jail, and bring transparency to the sheriff's office like the second coming of Harriet Tubman in a pantsuit.
So we're here with a new sheriff in town, Susan Hudson, but not a new face. You've been independent police monitor for 11 years.
Right.
So how do you transition from that role to sheriff, which is primarily overseeing that jail?
Yeah, it's an easy transition. I provide high-level leadership as the police monitor, and it's the same thing as the sheriff. I'm the chief administrator. We're going to have those under me to do the work, and we're going to do it right. So as an accountability expert, accountability systems are what I do in my sleep, right? So we're going to make sure that this one functions the way it's supposed to. We're going to hold those in leadership accountable as well as those who are on the ground.
People in the city, fed up with the nonstop foolishness at the jail, actually believe the hype. She made history as the first black woman elected sheriff in Orleans Parish, and expectations was high, like them rent prices on Tulane Avenue. But the second she sat in that seat, all that campaign fire turned into cold leftovers. No transparency, no real reform, no accountability, just a whole lot of press releases, ducking blame, pointing fingers like she playing hide and seek in a courtroom. See, the Orleans Parish Jail been a disaster since back when beepers was still buzzing. From deputies getting caught dirty to inmates disappearing like a magician. It's always been chaos behind them bars. People was hoping Susan was gonna be different, but she showed up talking justice and been handing out excuses ever since. The whole system looked like it's being run by Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble with badges. Then come July 2024, and this woman straight ignored a court order like it was spam mail. Chief Judge Tracy Flemings Davalier wasn't having it. She called Susan out for flat-out contempt of court, saying she done willfully neglected her duty and disobeyed a lawful order.
New Orleans judge is accusing the sheriff of contempt of court, and she's now being ordered to appear before that judge tomorrow afternoon. Criminal District Chief Judge Tracy Flemings Davalier says that Sheriff Susan Hudson is ignoring a court order to transport recent arrestees from jail to magistrate court on weekends and holidays.
The judge ain't said in street slang, but she basically told the whole city Susan was acting like she ain't got no damn sense. The whole thing started after the court had already asked her numerous times to get her people to transport inmates from the jail to magistrate court on weekends and holidays. That's day one sheriff work. They used to run it by Zoom post-COVID, then slowly brought weekday transports back.
Now, during the pandemic, that process was paused, going to Zoom and then doing transports during the week.
But on June 18th, Judge Flemings dropped the final order, telling Susan to resume weekend and holiday in-person transport starting July 12th.
However, on June 18th, the judge issued an order for Hudson to resume those weekend and holiday transports beginning this past Saturday.
But guess what? Susan goes to the court. She ain't even hitting back till late that Friday afternoon, just hours before the first transport deadline. And then when the weekend hit, she straight up refused to staff the court. No deputies, no transport, no responsibility, just bad vibes and no excuses. So boom, July 13th came around and the courtroom sitting dry. Ain't no arrest showing up, and the judge looking around like where the hell Susan at? Old courthouse smelling like missed duties and taxpayer betrayal. Judge Flemings ain't even waste time. She filed that heat Monday, saying Hudson was in constructive contempt for refusing to post up deputies for them weekend transports.
The judge describes it as a willful neglect of duty and says that Sheriff Hudson's inaction should amount to constructive contempt. And while the accusation may be shocking, it's not the first time it's being raised. Criminal District Chief Judge Tracy Flemings-Davalier is calling out Sheriff Susan Hutson, claiming she's been failing to accomplish a critical part of her job. Flemings-Davalier is accusing Hudson of failing to follow several requests to resume the transportation of inmates on weekends and holidays for their first court appearances.
Basically, Susan out here treating court orders like parking tickets. Just ignore them and keep pushing. Now here comes Susan with her classic move. Same excuse she been using since 2022, like it's a damn ringtone. She hopped in front of the media and hit them with the "we don't ignore court orders. We've been engaging with the courts. It's a financial issue. It's a staffing thing. How many times you gonna play that same scratched up record? She talking about it ain't about willingness. It's about operational feasibility. Girl, you wasn't running for sheriff of Disney World. This the murder capital jailhouse you asked to run. You knew what it was. Don't cry about not having enough boots on the ground after you done spent the last 2 years blowing through the jail budget like a bad rap deal. She said it cost $350,000 a year to staff the courthouse on weekends. Sis, that money was already in the budget. What you do with it? You ain't build no new pods. You ain't even fixed no broken systems. You damn sure ain't stopped them inmates for breaking out like a Shawshank Redemption in the South. What you spending it on? Ice sculptures and Instagram flies? Then she had the nerve to cry foul cause her legal team ain't get a chance to file for a stay. You had a whole 3 weeks since that June 18 order and you wait till the last damn minute to say something? That's like trying to turn in the high school paper after the bell rang and saying your printer was broke. And just when people thought she couldn't sink no lower, we found out this ain't even the first time Susan pulled this nonsense. Back in 2022, Judge Lori White hit her with a similar order, told her to bring them inmates to court every day of the week if needed. What Susan do? She challenged the judge's authority like she trying to win a Twitter beef, crying again about staff shortages and needing people inside the jail. That's been her go-to move: deny, deflect, and disappear.
Back in 2022, another criminal court judge accused the sheriff of the same problem. This issue arose just after the COVID-19 pandemic, and Sheriff Hudson responded to the judge by saying that she was operating at less than 45% of required deputy staffing.
Susan loved to scream staff shortage like it's a magic wand that makes all her failures disappear. But what she don't tell the public is that millions in funding was already slid her way to fix all that. City council handed her bags, real ones, and she still out here acting like she needed GoFundMe just to do basic sheriff duties. She been crying broke like she trying to dodge child support payments. But here's where it get even more shady. This whole court transcript mess blew up right after she announced she was back in the race to keep her sheriff seat. Yep, after she hit pause on her campaign because of that wild ass May 16th jailbreak where the 10 inmates broke loose like gates flew open on purpose. Word on the street is somebody on the inside might have helped. That alone should have her packing up her desk. Instead, she dusted off her campaign signs and jumped back in the race like she ain't just preside over the biggest embarrassment since Katrina trailers. Judge Fleming ain't lit that time and slide either. She dropped that rule to show cause order just days after Susan filed for re-election, letting the whole city know this ain't no coincidence. We tired of her game.
A judge orders Sheriff Susan Hudson to appear in criminal court tomorrow to determine if there's probable cause to arrest her.
Yes, Liz, Lauren, Chief Criminal Court Judge Tracy Flemings-Davalier wrote in a court document Monday that an order last month required Hudson to bring inmates to court on weekends and holidays. Flemings-Davalier says Hudson failed to comply. The chief judge also accuses Hudson of failing to provide deputy staffing throughout the courthouse, all factors that the judge believes is proof of Hudson's contempt.
And let's be real, this ain't no technicality or some paperwork mix-up. State law defines constructive contempt as straight up willful neglect of duty. That means you knew what you were supposed to do and you chose not to do it. That's not mismanagement, that's deliberate. That's somebody playing chicken with the court, hoping they blink first. The judge didn't blink. She told Susan to bring her ass to court and explain why she acting like the sheriff of excuses instead of Orleans Parish. And And while all this going down, people still sitting in that jail, missing their first court appearances. That means delays. That means backlogs. That means lawsuits on the way. And what Susan do? She behind some podium talking about feasibility while the jail falling apart like a haunted house. If you ain't gonna follow orders, step down and go sell life insurance or some shit. So by the time she stepped in that courtroom to face Judge Fleming, the whole city gonna be watching like it's a Netflix trial. Don't think jail time off the table either. That contempt charge ain't no slap on the wrist. If the judge feel like Susan's still playing, she might just trade the badge in for a bunk in the same jail she's supposed to be running. Imagine that. Sheriff of Orleans Parish sitting in the jail, eating them same cold trays she been serving everybody else. Poetic justice, straight out the night wall. The truth is, this bigger than transports. It's the buildup of years of her ducking responsibility and treating the sheriff's office like a damn social experiment. Refusing to admit she got problems inside the jail, spending money like Monopoly cash, ghosting judges, and dodging media questions like a politician on trial. Susan been running a clown car full of excuses for years. Every time something go wrong, it's either we short on staff or we need more money, or that's not feasible right now. Baby, what is feasible? Because you sure ain't secured the jail. You ain't fixed the contraband. You ain't stopped the drugs, the assaults, the escapes, or the ghost dockets. All you done is chase cameras, leak statements, and gaslight the public like they can't see through all this bullshit. Now, in the middle of a public meltdown with the courts, you want to run for re-election? What's gonna be the slogan? 4 more years of not showing up? Man, the streets laughing, judge frustrated, inmates escaping, and deputies underpaid and overworked. Whole operation looked like it's ran out of a Shoney's kitchen at 2 a.m. One thing's clear, this city don't need another speech, another press release, or another recycled excuse about feasibility. What it needs is a sheriff who acts as sheriff, somebody who shows up, stands up long enough to get the damn job done. Susan had her shot. She fumbled every inch of it like a rookie running back in a Super Bowl. Now she looking at a courtroom showdown with a judge who tired of playing nice, a public who tired of the lies, and a jail that's one mishap away from being condemned. And win or lose that seat come election time, one thing for sure, Orleans Parish now know this ain't the leadership we was promised. This just another chapter in the long embarrassing saga of a jail system that stays broke because the people running it won't stop breaking it